Hello there, and thank you for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Kemi Fola Adiemo. Today on the program, the federal government approves request by the United States to extradite Abba Kyari over link to internet fraud. Plus, OPEC raises Nigeria's oil production quota as Brent crude hits $117 per barrel. Later on the show, federal government orders domestic airlines to reverse 60% hike in airfares. And I'll be hanging out today with Odufowokan and Tony Nwajei. Welcome, gentlemen, to the program.
Thank you.
It's good to have you both again on Journalist Hangout. If you're ready, Journalist Hangout starts now. Thanks for joining in again. Indeed, the principle of liability in law predisposes that one can be tried for a crime if he commits the crime himself, participates in its commission in some manner, or benefits thereof. Well, having linked suspended head of the Police Intelligence Response Team, the IRT, Abba Kyari, to internet fraud committed by Ramon Abbas, popularly called Hushpuppi, the U.S. in April 2021 requested his extradition to answer to the crimes, and now the federal government has approved the request by the U.S. for Mr. Kyari's extradition. The Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, Malami, filed an application before the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday this week for the extradition matter. The AGF, that's Mr. Malami, is saying that the application followed a request by the diplomatic representative of the U.S. Embassy in Abuja. That's how we begin the conversation on this Kyari latest. And Dari, the Kyari latest also has further developments as less than 24 hours after the AGF's move. Now we see the NDLEA going to court to file an 8-count charge against DCP Kyari on drug trafficking charges now. What do you make of this twist?
I'm actually not seeing a twist. I'm seeing developments, because we've been on the Kyari matter for quite a while now. You recall that he was first indicted, so to speak, in the Hushpuppi matter. Then we started hearing about need to extradite him or not to extradite him. And I'll give it to the Nigerian system now, especially the Office of the Attorney General, for proving a point. And how do I mean? When all this noise started, there were people who felt that Kyari should just be released to America because they asked for him. Some of us felt no. We are also a sovereign nation. Kyari is still a citizen of Nigeria. The law guiding extradition states certain things that must be in place before you can release your citizen to another country. You must be sure the request for him to be, brought to you there is not political. You must be sure he would not be, he will receive fair hearing where he is going. You must be sure that in case, or should it be that he is not guilty of whatever he has been alleged, he will be allowed free passage back home. And that he would not be subjected to any form of discrimination or molestation due to his faith, his color, or his background. There is need for all this to be established first before you can now say, okay, we agree to release him or not. But a lot of people who wouldn't be bothered, whether there are rules, whether there are regulations, they didn't just think it was, they wanted it to be automatic. And the moment Nigeria said no, there are rules to follow, we said it, they will shield him, they're going to throw all the case under the carpet, he's going to get away with it. We must begin to grow some trust in our own system. It is when we do that we will have value in the eyes of other people. Now that this is happening, I went into that background for you to understand the importance of what has just happened.
Indeed.
Not only has a court in Nigeria said Kyari can be released, the Nigerian government, through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, has affirmed that we are sure he will not be ill-treated in any way. We are sure he has cases or questions to answer over there. We are sure we can protect him should things go the unexpected way. Having established all that, they are willing and ready to start the process of releasing him to America. And if you now look at why that was going on, you will also recall that some people quickly said that the allegations against Kyari by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, was an avenue to prevent him from being sent to America. I read that too on social media. Some people even made these assertions on national televisions that the government is coming up with this drug allegation just to, cover and prevent his extradition. Now, the government wants to extradite him. That does not stop NDLEA having concluded its investigations, knowing that people, not only Kyari, it's not only about Abba Kyari, so a number of people, including other police officers, including some NDLEA officials, possibly, are said to have questions to answer. The fact that Kyari is now being sent to America is not enough reason for others to escape trial. Even the extradition of a thing now is also not automatic. It's not. It's a process. It is a process, and this is just an application by the AGF to the court. There is absolutely nothing wrong in NDLEA kickstarting its own process. Should Kyari be extradited tomorrow, others will continue answering questions while his own will wait for him whenever it comes back. So I think these are good developments and they're in order. All right. Tony, what do you make of this? First, the AGF goes to court to apply for an order ordering the release of Mr. Kyari to the U.S. to answer to these alleged charges in the U.S. And the NDLEA comes out now to file charges against, from what I see anyway, against DCP Kyari and 4 of his officers. I'm not sure if it involves anyone, if it has named anyone yet from NDLEA. The story is just developing, but so far so good. What do you make of this slant now? I salute the federal government for taking that step. This is how it should be done. I mean, that trust must be there from the government to the people. People should be able to trust government, because the conspiracy theory that I was highlighting, I've read a lot of it. Even right now, even till now, they're still, still watching government to see how the whole situation pans out. It's a welcome development. It's a welcome development. The Ministry of Justice approaching the court, as you said, like you said, it's a process. The process has started. We are now waiting for the court to grant that request for extradition. And once it's done, it's over. And then the NDLEA coming out later today to file an 8-count charge against the same DCP Abba Kyari. We want justice. If anybody violates the law, let justice take its due course. Let's watch. Let there be no maneuver. That is where those conspiracy theorists are coming from. And now the ball is in the court of government to prove them wrong. And I'm happy, that's why I said I'm happy they've initiated it this morning. I'm happy it's going that direction. What we're now waiting for is for the court to make the next move, and then we proceed. Abba Kyari is somebody I respect so much before this, even until now. I won't say because he's still, facing the court. He has not been pronounced guilty yet. But I think he got carried away. Even during suspension too, he got involved. I would have expected an officer at that level to take everything, calm down and watch as everything, pans out. But he got engaged with other nefarious activities again that, I'm sure all of them mixed together brought him to where he is today. So it's a lesson for everybody, but most importantly, I salute the federal government again for taking that initiative, because a whole lot of people were actually not believing the step. Okay, no, they've picked him now. They said America cannot. They are trying to shield him. All manner of conspiracy theories and all that.
So now that we're saying this, there's so much quietness in the social media space because that's where all these things happened. But there are still, some few of them still watching the situation as it unveils. I pray we'll be able to push this through and get justice at the end of the day.
All right, gentlemen, as at yesterday when the AGF went to court, to file the papers, we haven't gotten a date yet for the hearing. Lawyers are saying it's even when the court indeed orders that Mr. Kyari be extradited to the US, he can appeal.
Yes.
And if the court weighs the evidence presented by the US and the federal government and sees that he shouldn't be extradited, the FG can even also appeal. And the laws, you mentioned, some legal provisions, as that listed conditions for this extradition, one of which being that if an offense, related or not related to what he's wanted for in the US, is instituted against him in Nigeria, that automatically, creates a spanner in the wheels for the extradition request. So now that the NDA has come out now, the laws also say that indeed he must everyone must indeed wait for the result of that court's on the NDLA case. If indeed is sentenced, he must even serve the entire duration of the sentence before the extradition.
I don't think it's that simple.
Well, but that's what the law says.
No, I don't think it's that straight jacket.
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer, but we've seen developments like this in the past. I think it's about technicalities and people involved weighing their options. And that's why a judge must make a pronouncement. Don't forget, the AGF has had a duty to do. He must check, are there reasons why it should not be extradited? Are there fears about the extradition process? Before he will go to court at all to make that request, he must have ensured that he did his own bit. Good enough, he didn't go to court before
the NDLA
saga. He didn't. The saga was on. He is a son. He had sons working in his office. If he knew there is a bottleneck already, I don't think he will want to waste the resources and time of the court. I believe very well that at the end of the day, none of us is eager, in my opinion, to see Kyari sent off if there is no need for. Either he's here or he's there. He has charges to answer. That's how bad it is. Like Tony said, he's one person I admired. I no longer admire him, I must say, because even if
he's not been pronounced guilty.
No, even if he's pronounced innocent, he sort of lost some of the respect I have for me by making himself available where he could be accused. Like Yorubas will say, if you don't walk near certain things, the odor of such things will not smell on your body. That some things one does not expect. Some recent pictures I've seen of him in association with some people, even if he has no criminal deals with them. The mere fact that he could call them his friends, enough for me not to want to be his friend again. I don't want to be the friend of such people. So if he's their friend, he cannot be my friend. So he is somebody I've celebrated in my writings, in my analysis. He's somebody I've personally visited to applaud, to give kudos to for some heroic deeds. So seeing him in this mess is a personal disappointment to some of us. So it's not as if one is eager to see him go off.
Yeah.
But why one is not eager to see him go off? I am eager to see justice done thoroughly in this matter, to serve as deterrent to others who would want to engage in criminalities while putting on the uniform of the Nigerian police force or any other parastatal for that matter. Two, for those who don't know the bounds, the limits of association as public officers, there should be no relationship between a public officer and a known or a celebrated...
Let me interrupt our conversation here in the studio, bring in our very first caller. I'm sorry if I got the name wrong. Bridget, welcome.
No, Fidel, F-I-D-E-L.
Mr. Fidel, it's good to have you on the program. Please carry on.
Thank you very much. Fidel Onyeneke is calling from Owerri. And I want to say that nobody is above the law. One had expected a highly placed officer like Abba Kyari to know what to do and what not to do at a given time, to live as an example. Now, I want to urge the federal government to ensure that wherever he is sent to, that he should set the appropriate law and nobody should maltreat him. Because of the guidelines, rules, and regulations that have to be followed. Remember, he's still a citizen of this country. Yes. And as such, if you are sending him to a place where they are going to maltreat him, federal government should not do that. That should be resisted. And above all, this country, no country is an island. So we must follow the diplomatic processes and ensure that we show the world that we are really fighting corruption in this country called Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that said. Well, back to the studio for more on this developing story. Tony, so like I was saying earlier on, Mr. Malami, the senior advocate of Nigeria, had said that there were no charges. That is one of the conditions, to be considered and before an extradition request is, weighed. And of course, like Darius said, all this information, however quickly they emanate or the panel, will be tabled before the judge.
Course, yeah.
Subsequent information like this NDLA charge will, of course, be put before the judge, before making a pronouncement on the matter. But I'm just also looking at, the connection, the AGF, the Chief Law Officer of the Federation, the NDLEA, coming to court now. I'm just looking at, say, the level of independence, or so to speak, now between these two bodies. How does it seem to you?
For me, that is how it should be. For me, it's a different court cases here. Yeah. We have one from the emanating from the Office of the Attorney General, and one is coming from the NDLEA, and they are going to follow. Work simultaneously. They are not. I don't say mix here. The one from the AGF is the one that is talking about the extradition, and that's the one that the Nigerians want to see how it works, because. I can't remember the last time any Nigerian was, extradited. Okay. Extradited to
the Burujikasha, indeed.
He fought it in
slugged it out. He slugged it out till death, indeed.
He wanted to appeal it. I think that was the last stage he left it. So that's the one that excites Nigerians the more, because it has to do with a foreign country here. We want to see how it works. The processes, phase by phase. Just as I said, no date has been assigned for that
date, yes.
For
the hearing yet. So I want a quick dispensation of justice in this case, and we should learn that. I mean, the will of justice should be let it grind faster once in a while. In a case like this, that attract international attention, should be. Nigerians should do it differently from the way we do our things here. Let us see how it pans out. The processes are not. Let's wait for what the court says.
Let's bring in our second caller. Elder Diary, welcome to the program. Please carry on.
Yeah, good evening, my sister, and to the guests in the studio.
Thank you.
You see, Abba Kyari is somebody I so much respected. He's a vibrant young man who takes his job very seriously. But ever since I began to see him on social media, going out for operation and they take pictures, I know that he's going to run into troubled waters. You see, it's rather unfortunate that until the FBI bring out this report, the Nigerian government cannot even notice something like that until a foreign nation pointed out this. You see, the system is so weak in Nigeria. We have strong individuals rather than strong institutions. And that is why some of them can do some of the things and get away with it. We have so many Abba Kyaris holding positions in Nigeria that are still doing the same thing. But what is the system doing to fish them out, especially in sensitive positions like this? Like Dari rightly said, photos and videos are watched on the social media. Seeing him, mingling with people he ought not to. He's an intelligence officer, but his acts are not intelligent at all. A man of his position and caliber shouldn't, do that in a public glare, even if you have a relationship with them. It's rather unfortunate. But be that as it may, it's good that the federal government is taking the step it ought to take, so that it will serve as defense for other people to know that the long arm of the law will catch up with you when you go against the ethic of your profession. Good evening, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much for making your contributions. And, well, we also have reports that what prompted the AGF to go to court yesterday was the conclusion of investigation, so to speak, or the submission of the file to the AGF by the police investigative team. And, you know, the police had also not foreclosed the issue of how the CP Kyari and the other officers were able to, especially the CP Kyari, were able to carry out that alleged operation, you know, during a suspension, and has also vowed to look into that disciplinary measures.
That's why you will understand that it's a whole lot of an issue. And the moment we begin to smell conspiracy theories, or we inject conspiracy theories into this, we'll model the whole thing up. An investigation was ongoing. Abba Kyari, Hushpuppi, and co. Something else happened while he was on suspension. He got involved in something else again. Then, just like the last speaker said that it took a foreign police institution to point out what was wrong. I may not totally agree with that, because the NDLA saga was unraveled by our own men here. So sometimes it may take time for things to be known, but if we are diligent at finding out things, if we are diligent at exposing those who do the wrong things, will surely, the long arm of the law will eventually catch up with everybody. What I'm trying to say is, it should not be seen as anything strange that AGF went to court and then we have the NDA going to go. The police investigating panel had to submit to the Police Service Commission weeks back. It was returned because the PSC felt that it was not diligently carried out. If that had been done and agreed upon, then I am sure the AGFs going to the court would have been faster. And we will not be talking about NDLA going hours after he went to court. And also you must know, like I said earlier, the fact that the AGF has gone to court should not be a reason why Abba Kyari and those involved in this matter should not be tried for the drug-related offense. While the FBI's request for him may be celebrated, for me, I take the drug involvement more seriously. I'll tell you why. By the time this matter starts unfolding, you will hear names of celebrities. We will hear other names. Because Abba Kyari and whoever is being alleged to have sold and buy the drugs now will not consume everything on their own. Who are the customers? Where are the outlets in this country? Abba Kyari allegedly sold some and even offered to sell more. And after offering to sell more, within days, he disposed it of. To who? This case going to court will unveil a lot of things. Hopefully. And that's why we should not be too eager about extraditing him and leaving that.
All right. I want to accumulate the remaining few seconds we have on this topic now. You know, whether you agree with what Darius said, for you, which is weightier? For the government, for the officers involved, for you?
It's waiting for both the government and the officers involved. On the part of government, and most especially the Nigerian police force, a lot still need to be done. What happened to Abba Kyari should be an eye-opener to the police hierarchy. You should start taking cognizance of actions of the rank and file, what they do daily. I mean, somebody should be interested. Abba Kyari didn't start this today, you know. Let's be realistic. Right. Because if you look at it, didn't start this today.
But specifically, the question is, between these two offenses, that's alleged offenses, that in the U.S., and you know this drug trafficking done on home soil, so to speak. That one was also done on home, was said to have been done on home soil. But when you weigh these two charges, which for you is you know, has the biggest impact?
Two of them are weighty. We're talking about crime here. Crime, there's no bigger crime or small. Crime is crime. And we're talking about Abba Kyari here, a police officer. He celebrated police officer for that matter. So you can't say this is bigger. No, they should be treated equally. One from the NDLA and the one from from the FBI.
All right, gentlemen, we'll take a breather at this point now on Journalist Hangout. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us on Journalist Hangout, showing on TVC News. Well, all things being equal, and increased production capacity and rise in the price of crude oil in the international market could be the tonic for economic revival in Nigeria. After its 26th ministerial meeting on Wednesday, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries increased the world's oil production quota to 1.735 million barrels, and this to begin from the month of April. The new production capacity is higher than the 1.72 million barrels for the month of March. It also draws Nigeria closer to the 1.88 million barrels proposed in the 2022 budget. Well, the news is also coming at a time oil prices are at an 11-year high, as Brent crude was sold at $117 per barrel as at Thursday morning this week. Daria, what do you make of these developments in the oil market? Is it for us indeed a big deal when we talk about this tonic to revive our ailing economy?
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and it's a positive development for Nigeria, because you will recall that the budget we are currently running, which was thanks to the National Assembly, drawn in the later part of last year, was premised on a higher quota of oil production for the country. Well, as we moved towards the end of last year, the quotas were dropping. But from February, we've been having some upward review, and the numbers are gradually moving closer to what we premised the budget upon. And also, if this happens, the implication is that our budget becomes more and more workable, because we are already running at a deficit, because what we expected to get from oil is not what we've been getting. But with the changes and the upward review of the quota by OPEC, coupled with the fact that oil price seems to be appreciating too globally, it's good news for Nigeria in the area of income. Oil-related income, I'll put it. But if you begin to look at other factors that determines how the economy runs, those are figures. How about manpower? How about intelligence? How about commitment to service to the people? How about corruption? When all these other factors play their own role, aren't we going to be back to square one? So we have something to rejoice about in figures. Are we going? Can we be sure that when this income comes in, we'll attribute it or we'll place it where it ought to go? So it's not just something that will become good on its own. It will have to be related to other factors. One of such is our own expenditures. If we continue to take a chunk of what we get to service debts, to pay subsidy for products not being consumed by Nigerians, and rather than look into such things, we continue to prevaricate. We look at the barrels of oil, petroleum products, alleged to be that is being alleged to be used by Nigerians. Experts, economists, and others daily tell us these figures are not realistic. The Nigerians could not be consuming this much. I am yet to see a fact-finding mission to look into these claims. And it is so important to our national survival if we don't know. Because if you look at what has been happening, the figures or amounts as regards subsidy keeps going up. And we keep paying more. Next month we'll pay more. Now look at the situation we find ourselves. We are experiencing fuel scarcity. That has nothing to do with what we will pay.
Absolutely.
We will still end up paying. And the things we should be investigating, while we see upsurge, positive upsurge in some areas, We should be concerned about things that would now defeat the purpose of that upsurge, that would defeat the benefits of such. One of such is what we do with our resources, what we do with our money. If we keep borrowing money, allegedly for projects, and the projects end up 1/3 completion, the money is gone. What's the issue between us and our China creditors as regards to the railway we are building? These are questions which we ask. We are going to service those debts. It will become easier for us if the facilities we intend to use the monies to put in place are there, and then we are paying and we are servicing. It will be rational. But when we borrow, for some people to embezzle, for some people to do away with, and then we now start paying back from our collective patrimony, it will not make the benefits of whatever it is we have gained to show.
All right, Tony, are these concerns, equally as, cogent for you that indeed, while we should be rejoicing at the extra income this increase in the price of crude will generate for Nigeria's reserves, it's also a call for reawakening, for us to, change the way we do things, especially on the part of government?
I don't think, normally we should be celebrating, we should be happy with the high cost prices going up. But according to the Minister of State for Petroleum, he said subsidy boarding, pipeline shutdown, among other reasons, will remain the few reasons why Nigeria will not benefit from the current high price of oil. And I took my time to look at, because last year, I think we faced the same challenge too, though it's not peculiar to Nigeria, it's a global issue since the pandemic came up. Economies of countries were having hiccups here and there, and meeting the oil targets was difficult, kind of. But I think the way we run things in Nigeria too has a lot to do with it. Why do we always have shortage of, our benchmark yearly or monthly? Our refineries, we manufacture crude here, but we fail to meet, we fail to ramp up production to where it should be. First and foremost, we need to get our refineries working. That's according to what the minister said. Over time, we have failed to do the needful. How many refineries do we have in Nigeria to meet our production quota? We don't have it. Okay, but the small refineries we have some I think we have few of them around, and they do like 5,000 per barrels daily, but it's not enough. That's where we need to change the way we do things in Nigeria. If we really want to be a player in the oil industry, God has blessed us. We're already a player, but if we want to take it higher, we need to re-strategize. We need to do things differently. We need to have our own refineries in Nigeria here, where we refine our own products and export. We don't need to take it out and bring it back. We keep saying this all the time, and it keeps happening. And so it's not new that we're facing this. It will happen again, because I'm not seeing anything different. Year in, year out, ministers of petroleum, the Ministry of, I'm happy with the present administration, with the reform, carried out within the NMPC structure. But I'm here to see how it's going to work. I would have preferred a situation where we commit our resources toward building new refineries, not like the one they're doing presently in River State. Nigeria presently is waiting for Dangote to come up with its own refinery. We're talking about an individual there. Nigerians can build a refinery that's bigger than that, more than, like 4 at a go, if we are really prepared to be a big player in this industry. We're doing well, but I think we can do better than we're doing presently.
But then let's also look at, the global implications, of course, while considering, what it means for the Nigerian economy. Of course, you all know that the oil market indeed remains as volatile. Sometimes we project a higher, figure as to possible income, and then, things don't always, go as planned, and lessons. Even the current conflicts now involving Russia and Ukraine is also a testament, and Russia is a major player now in OPEC Plus that issued this announcement. So for you, how do we balance these concerns, while also projecting that this could indeed be the turnaround we need in Nigeria?
Yeah, well, you must understand the fact that it's not an isolated case. Nigeria is playing along with other countries in the oil sector. And when there is increase in quota, the country is expected to take advantage of that increase to better its own lot economically. And by the way, while Tony was talking about the need for better refineries and go, I would say that ordinarily has to do with our own consumption here. It does not play any major role in this, right, because this is about crude oil. This is about what you can send out to be refined by other countries. And because this is a natural resources. I mean, it's a natural resource, and if you want it in whatever quantum, each country can provide it. And there will be what they call a glut. So it is quoted. This is what you can bring, this is what you can bring, this is what you can bring. I think the inability of one or two countries to meet the demand shortfall on their own part is what is giving room for this increase on our part. So if we can meet this demand effectively, we stand a good chance of even getting more. But we are, due to one reason or the other, we fail to meet the benchmark. We can suffer a relapse. But in all this, it's going to bring money into the country. To the question you asked, how do we balance all this? We balance it by ensuring that when we get it, we don't have some sort of avenues where this money is filtered away to. Because if you are making money from what you export, which is oil in this case, crude oil, and we are filtering it away from what we import, which is refined oil this time. So it does not seriously make a lot of sense. So to balance it, we still need to ensure that our own oil sector is cleansed up, and we have a better arrangement on how to either import refined oil or do it right here at home.
Yeah. We have another caller, Gwenga from Abuja. Apologies for keeping you on too long. Please carry on.
Okay, thank you. Apology accepted. Just want to briefly comment on Abba Kyari issue. I want to say that the government have done the right thing. No matter the conspiracy theory that people say they are sending him there so as to cover up, not to name names in the drug deal. I don't think it's so. Because when the government was working on it, they said the government have covered him up, do nothing to escape. That's why they did not do anything. That if they are from one region, from one state, or from one tribe, they will have done everything. They will have sent him out. We have done the right thing now. It shows that we are a responsible nation, and this will help us also in fighting corruption or whatever issue. And other nations will support us. And for the oil issue, it's a plus to us, the increase. But the issue is that the more it increases, the more the money we pay on subsidy, it also increases. How do we balance it? Are we gaining or something? Yes, we are still gaining no matter what. Other things subsidy, we are still gaining. My own is that the government should be able to spend that extra, because now it's an extra budget. The budget is $50-something. Now we are $100 something, about $70 above, or about $60 above. Government should immediately spend the excess in a judicious way to pay back our debt and take care of other infrastructure deficits we have. So I pray it will go for $150 per dollar. $150 and then $150 per barrel. That's my own prayer.
All right.
The issue is that our refinery, they should use that money to repair our refinery and make things work for Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you too. A question has also been asked if indeed members of this OPEC bloc now indeed agree to the increase in the production capacity. is the world, I'm quoting the way I read this article, I think it was Washington Post or so, is the world still as thirsty for oil, as in, will we have buyers? Will Nigeria and indeed the rest of this bloc indeed have buyers if they, increase their production capacity? Is this a worry for you?
Yeah, it shouldn't be a worry for me, because you must understand the fact that there are experts involved in this thing. These figures we are saying, somebody will not just sit down somewhere and just be churning it out. It's based on demand. The increase in quota, it's not in production. It's in the quota you, as a country, an OPEC nation, can bring into the crude oil market. There are countries, for whatever reasons, whose quota would go down as ours is going up. And at those times when our own went down, there are countries that benefited.
The US has even said it won't even, is not considering an increase at this time.
So another thing you should also understand is that it is only when there are demands that they need to increase supply will happen. The world obviously is still very thirsty for crude oil. That's a fact. The war in Ukraine, the pressure on the entire global economy by COVID-19, a lot of other issues probably might be catching the attention of global players. But the industries, the manufacturers, the plants still need oil. And the global field where the oil sector plays will not be shut down. And until there is a replacement, obvious replacement for oil, it will still be a product in demand. The quantity is what we may not be able to ascertain. For how long we'll still be able to put our entire national economy on oil. For how long are we going to still be doing that? We may not know. For now, it is still in demand. But I am very sure there is need for us to begin to think ahead.
Right.
When that time comes, what are we going to do? We should be thinking about that now.
Tony, I want you to give your final words now on this subject. What more are you expecting to see, looking at the global implication, Nigeria's interest, of course? What's it for you?
Well, I've said before, but I'm more interested in why we always fall below our quota.
This is a developing story. There will be room for more reactions from you as we go forth. That said, we'll take another break and return with more on Journalist Hangout. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It's a difficult time in the aviation industry here in Nigeria, and a synergy among the stakeholders is required to fix things in the interest of all. The federal government has now ordered domestic airlines to reverse the over 60% hike in airfares on domestic routes. The government gave this order after investigations by the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the FCCPC, showed that the airlines agreed on the hike in airfares during meetings by the airlines operators of Nigeria. The executive vice chairman and the chief executive of the FCCPC, Babatunde Irukera, said it's wrong for competitors to come together and agree to fix price. Do you agree, Tony?
Yeah, it's not wrong. They're feeling the heat more. In Nigeria today, we know what we're going through. High cost of aviation fuel, foreign exchange, a whole lot of things are playing out at the moment. So when my problem is doing this without letting Nigerians know. There should be an announcement to that effect. But they shock, and they saw what happened last week. We have few people flying. So it's affecting them too. Where they made a mistake, I'm not blaming them, because when you run a business, you expect to make profit. But in this case, they were losing. They said, like, for over 10 years, they've been trying to see how they can, take the price higher. They eventually succeeded, but on a wrong premise. Government needs to be carried along. They should have a meeting with government. It's not about Consumer Protection Agency or Commission ordering them to reverse it, because it don't work like that. We've had issues in Nigeria where we've had DSTV taking advantage of I mean, of us, because I'm a player there too. And government occasionally, especially the Consumer Protection Agency, ordering them, that word order, you order them to, but they won't listen because you're not using this right channel. There must be a meeting, and I mean, everybody must sit on a round table. You must give us reason why this increment is very, very inevitable. I mean, we know it's something that must happen, but I mean, just taking it higher the way you feel, because of course, all of you sit in the same table, no neutral person there, doesn't work for us. I know Consumer Protection Agency before. Now I'm seeing
now became, yes, indeed.
So,
indeed
but whatever the name
it's
is,
the same.
The issue there is that the consumer at every point in time, the Nigerian consumer at every point in time must be protected.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to, I mean, airlines. People get to the airport. A lot of things are happening there. Today we're talking about the increment. I mean, flight delays, a lot's going on there. Government needs to. But ordering them is what I have an issue with. Okay. You don't order them because they will not obey you.
All right. Daryl, what do you make of it? For the FCCPC, like Tony said, you know, the interest of the consumers, you know, that's what it's after. It's also after healthy competition and not, you know, price fixing as it appears, you know, from the circular issued to the AON. It appears that, you know, it says it's carrying out investigations still on the matter, but it appears that they all, you know, seem to agree, or there was some form of, you know, agreement at those series of meetings it quoted. Do you have an issue with that?
With the Consumer Protection Commission on this, and with the FCCP, you see, because it is unethical, it is unacceptable in business for competitors to come together and fix a price. The consumers will be on the receiving end. It is a wrong approach to business. Yes, people who do business want to make profit, but at whose expense? If there is need for prices to be reviewed, the market should dictate that. There were challenges in that sector. Company A could decide to add 5 naira, while company B had 7 naira. Company C, 10 naira. That gives us, the consumer, choices. But where you meet and you decide we're adding 20 naira across board, we are left with no choice. And you are ripping us off. That's what Erukera is saying, and I agree with him. Because the consumers are not taking into cognizance in agreeing or arriving at the current pricing regime. And that's why they are also feeling the heat now. People just feel, oh, is that it? We avoid using your services. Because you have only considered your own interest. And you hear the maxim, consumers are king. If you don't think we are kings, then we can make do with your airplane. So it's important for us to understand that what is playing out is that market forces are not allowed to dictate price here, but players.
So what you both have said that there are current, realities that these major airliners, are facing.
Yes.
In the words of Aero's MD, he said they earn in naira and spend expenditure in forex, and everyone just seemed to agree that indeed they're suffering. Look at how to get regular Nigerians are spending so much manpower and otherwise now to get the average fuel. Talk less of the aviation fuel needs now of these people. So what's the best way to resolve this?
The best way is to consider the consumers too. Let's come, like Tony said, let's come to a table and say, oh, we can all see. You see, this thing is not peculiar to airline operators. Look at this fuel issue we are talking about. Do you know fuel petrol station owners are also doing the same thing? You see a location, and you get there, they will tell you they are selling for 210. And if you like, move around 30 filling stations. That's the price you find it. While we'll agree that sourcing the product may be difficult for them, should it be at the total expense of the consumers? The answer is no.
All right,
there should be a way balance it
somehow.
Meet midway and resolve issues. Meet midway and bear the brunt collectively.
All right, gentlemen. We'll rest on this note. Time isn't our friend on journalist hangout. So much to discuss. Time is limited, but that's how we end this edition of journalist hangout. I say big thank you to you, Dario Odufowokan and Tony Nwajei, for your contributions on the program, and a big thank you indeed to all our viewers and those who kept calling despite the odds. Thank you so much for keeping us company here at TVC News. Remember, you can also join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. From all of us here, thank you so much for watching. I am Kemi Fola Adeyemo. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.